It was love at first listen, and it just don't stop. A love language spoken in rhythm, yeah, I'm talking that real hip hop. Dropping that knowledge and wisdom, a message felt close to the heart, like that first record you got that schooled you in the art. A journey beginning in vinyl, two records spinning like a staircase spiral, sound from the underground heard that would eventually go viral. Thought to be a joke, a gimmick, a trend, it became a voice for the people, a passion mixed with poetic blend for that beautiful struggle to fight the powers that be, to a knowledge of self that lets your soul feel free. East Coast, West Coast, Northern touch to South outposts, tales of city living, about faith and the unforbidden, about fear and secrets hidden, in lessons learned and forgiven, in flows of expression when the freaks come out at night. B-boys and B-girls breaking bread while we break dance, and the DJ plugged in the mic. A 1-2, a 1-2, microphone check, a 1-2, a 1-2.
You are listening to Down Home. The early 80s, an electrifying time, the birth of hip-hop. But hip-hop wasn't just an American phenomenon. As the beats and rhymes erupted from New York City, their energy rippled across borders, reaching us here in Canada. This wasn't just music, it was a movement. And for us, it changed everything. Join us as we dive into the story of hip-hop in Canada, exploring its American influences and the Canadian pioneers who helped shape the culture. I'm Derek Wise, and on behalf of Jay Jones, welcome to Down Home, the Canadian experience from two black men.
Breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, simple breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, simple breaking new ground.
So yeah, this is a bit of a lighter topic, man, which I think we're desperately in need of.
Yeah.
So yeah, Canadian hip hop and what it meant to us, man.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, hip hop means a lot to me, as it does to us both. It's kind of cool how not a lot of history is known about the Canadian hip hop. Maybe now because everything's a little bit higher profile, but for 50 years there's still a lot of unknown. We all know that one of the first rap tunes in America that bust on the scene was Rapper's Delight, which was in 1979. But a little known fact that there was a guy named Mr. Q, DJ McGee, or his name was Mr. Q, Jay McGee is his real name. He actually in 1979 came up with an album, and it was called Ladies Delight. And it's a little known fact. The history of it's not well known. There was another song that came out in 1983 that was credited with the first hip hop song, but that's not the case. Ladies Delight was, and Jay McGee went on to sort of promote hip hop in its early days, because that's how it spread, because Canada didn't have the infrastructure, you know what I mean, that America had for it to be known. And it just sort of slowly it had a slow ascent, but from that time until like Maestro and everything like that, and the Dream Warriors and everything, until it started to get a little bit of notoriety. But in the essence, I was following it all along, maybe not Ladies Delight, but definitely from the 80s, just piggybacking off of what the American hip hop brought to us. And then, you saw the scene slowly blow up. What about you, man?
Yeah, well, honestly, my earliest memories are like around 82, 83, CKDU. The Halifax campus radio, man, back in the day.
Yeah.
And I think it was Saturday night, and it was from like something like 6 to 9. They played hip hop.
Yeah.
And so I had my cousin's Ghetto Blaster, and I had a blank tape ready to record, right? I didn't record the whole show. I should have recorded the whole show, but tapes were expensive back then.
Yeah, damn right. You wanted to fill them out. So
I
yeah,
know, right?
you did the old songs that you liked, right? Yeah.
Songs that you like. So you had the two fingers hovered over there, and all I remember is Nucleus Jam on it,
Yeah.
like Run DMC, the early stuff like Sick MCs,
Yeah.
Roxanne Shante, Roxanne's Revenge, all that stuff. We
Yeah.
could come on
Yeah.
play, yeah, and of course you got Grandmaster Flash and Furious Five, The Message, and all that stuff, and Curtis
Yeah.
Blow, the early Curtis Blow stuff. So yeah, man, that it was music that kind of spoke to us.
Yeah.
It
really
kind
did.
of spoke to us. It was talking about stuff that we kind of saw being around the black community, the small black community down in Halifax.
Yeah.
And it was like invigorating because oh my, yeah, like this
Yeah.
this medium makes sense to me, man. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, because it was a total departure from CFDR and C100, excuse me, which played a lot of rock. I mean, I grew up on a lot of rock too.
Yeah.
But then, like you say, in 1983, Run DMC, It's Tricky, and all these songs, Rakim, and Big Daddy Kane, and all these rappers, and EPMD,
Mm.
and then it started to catch fire. Like Toronto was actually the very first biggest hip hop show. It was in 1987, and EPMD was on the bill, and a few other Canadian rappers and stuff like that. So it started to catch fire. And then in Nova Scotia, it caught fire. There was Down by Law, which sort of morphed into, that was the early stages. And then, shows started to come like Public Enemy and Maestro Fresh West and different things like that. And then Halifax itself got its own little scene with Howtown Meltdown. All those rappers, Universal Soul, JROC, Joe Run, and Patty Jones. Who else was there? Bonshaw, MCJ and Cool G,
MCJ and Cool G.
Hip Club Groove.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and of course Buck 65, who at the time was known as Stinkin' Rich. He went on to gain notoriety himself, and all of a sudden this scene got bigger, and I was listening to it nonstop all the time. I was taking my gas station money that I made every week, going and buy all kinds of tapes, and it just really caught on and really made me want to rap. Honestly, you know what I mean? It was, I was practicing my rhymes and everything. And then there was this song that we did called The Golden One, which was fun. And I mean, nothing compared to Canadian hip hop, but that was the fact that you could take a little keyboard, make a beat, and write some rhymes to it. So it became fun because it was a creative outlet, and you saw what was going on, and and then all the Public Enemy and all those things about everything. It just blew up. It blew up. Yeah. Man.
Yeah. My earliest memories of talking about down home in the hip hop scene. In elementary school, there was a noontime showcase, and a group called Uniac Square Posse was a breakdance crew. Came in and performed in the gym, man. So they had their little beatbox, and it was just beats going through, and they were doing their breakdance thing. That I remember that. And all the groups that you mentioned. Also, I remember going to school with Giselle Cunningham. She Shy Love.
Rock star.
Yeah.
She should have bought a car. I can't remember the exact word. That was dope because it was actually about drugs and everything. So you could see the message intertwined. And I remember her performing that at QEH, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, yeah, she went to QE with us. She was our age back in the day, man. And you're right. Like, and then once we're in high school and stuff like that, and I had money to buy tapes, like instead of doing the CKDU thing, and that's when like Eric Beam, Rakim. For me, it was Tone Loc, NWA.
Yeah,
Public Enemy, Heavy D and the Boys, LL Cool J, all that stuff. I used to
yeah.
buy. You were more prolific, I know, but
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
it's all
man.
good. I just grabbed onto it. Like when I heard Backbone Slide, I could feel
Mm.
it in my sacroiliac as well. So I just I just caught on, man, and then sort of like in the early '90s was I used to work at a gas station, summer night shift, so it was the
Mm.
10 to I don't know 10 to 7:30, I think it was, and a guy that I used to work with, Jeff Hale, he started to bring all these tapes, and one tapes he brought was De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising, and he put that on, and I was like, "What is this?" And then that's where it really took off for me because then it led into the Native Tongues and Tribe Called Quest, Black Sheep, and so on and so forth. And I kind of went the sort of conscious route. I was always listening to hip hop, no matter what form it came in, but I noticed I started to really dig the lyrics of what those guys were saying because they were just like us,
Mm.
They, you know, hip hop has its elements, but of commercial, like Adidas were big and stuff. I couldn't afford Adidas, but I could afford some crazy thrift shop shirt that De
Yeah.
La Soul was wearing or Q-Tip was wearing, and then I was like, oh, these guys are just like us, and they were young as well. They were 19, 20 years old, and it just took off from there, man. And that's where I started to really get into it myself, and it's been a lifelong, hip hop. I think raised
Yeah.
us both in some
Oh yeah,
regards. You know what I
definitely,
mean?
man.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like, like hanging out at your place and listening to that stuff. Yeah, but what was pumping in my Walkman was a lot of gangster rap, though. Talking
Yeah,
like
you were
I was into the
yeah,
gangster rap. Talking like
nothing wrong with
Tupac.
that.
Oh yeah, Tupac, Dog Pound,
Yeah,
Onyx,
yeah, yeah,
Method Man, Redman, Nas.
yeah.
But then you had pumping the Fugees
Mhm.
and Missy Elliott and Timbaland and all that stuff, pumping all that stuff in the '90s, right? But
Yeah,
yeah, you're
but
right. Like,
there were yeah.
no, go ahead.
No, no, sorry, yeah, and then all of a sudden, what happened to the video age started to happen.
Mm,
Music started to happen. Michael Williams did Rap City, and you could see a lot of different stuff. And the beauty about that is you started to bring a lot of Canadian content. So you notice that all across Canada, there were groups. Ottawa had its hip hop scene. Halifax, we know, had its hip hop scene. Vancouver had its hip hop scene with the Rascals and stuff like that. And then Toronto really became a hotbed. You had Michie Me, who was basically kind of the first lady of rap.
hmm.
Maestro, we all know. Dream Warriors. You had Kish, who had that one hit, I Rhyme the World in 80 Days.
Yeah.
Main Source, which were Toronto and New York kind of based. They were doing their thing. Cardinal, Choclair, Chaos. And that gave birth to the Northern Touch in
Mm,
1998, and that's when hip hop really started to get the recognition it
yeah.
needed because it started to get a lot more airplay, and then
Hmm.
of course it birthed like Shad and just all these hip hop groups and to where it is now, and then of course Drake and everything took it
Yeah.
to another level globally. So, but it's a culture that's really important to Black people's history because it gave us a voice to express ourselves about what was going on in the world, and it gave people hope when they didn't have the money to buy a guitar or play in all these bands or have instruments. They could, follow that and at least be empowered by that. At least that's what it did for me.
Yeah. Like literally, all you needed was a pen, a pad, and you could
Yeah,
hang out with your friends and do whatever, right? At
yeah,
the very most, you could get a little 8-track recorder and a mic,
yeah,
do it, man. So it was accessible, right?
yeah. It was.
It was
Yeah,
accessible.
it certainly was. Yeah, I had a couple little or some equipment that we kind of purchased together and a little
Hmm.
sampler and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, man. Yeah, what can you say? What can you say? I know that you don't like the way that hip hop has kind of morphed into the last decade or so. But you did mention Drake, and Drake kind of on a commercial level took it to another level.
Yeah.
And yeah, he has to get his props for that, his flowers for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hip hop has been different, obviously, for the last 10 years, but even at its inception in its heyday in the 80s, it was starting to break off in all different genres anyway. There was dance rap, like you had snap, you had like all this house stuff. There was a Canadian rapper, Be Cool. He was delving into house music and rap. There was HDV. There was Devin, that was more instrumentation rather than sample, who did that song, Mr. Metro, Devin did. It was breaking off into all these genres, and that's the beauty of it all as well. Because for me, I listen to a lot of different music, but it really made me focus on the samples. And I was like, where did I hear this before? And then all of a sudden I had an ear for jazz, and that sort of led me down the road of educating myself about jazz music, like especially with Tribe when they were sampling jazz. Like it was an education as well because it led to other genres of music, but hip hop took that and made it own. I know made it its own. It was always controversial with samples and stuff like that, but it was a legit way. And once people learned the business side of things, it became this global phenomenon, and arguably is probably one of the most popular genres of all time, even because rock, that kind of went by the wayside. Country is country, but hip hop amalgamated it all and made it bigger. I just love it.
Yeah, and it's, as far as the genre is concerned, I think it's been one of the top selling genres for close to 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, and I know it's kind of, it took a hit in the last 5 years or so, and country and pop has kind of hit the charts, but a 30-year run, like when you think about it, that's phenomenal, right?
And it's a young genre of music. It's only 50 years old, 51 now. So saying that and what it's done for people, what it's done for even Black communities, like people able to, make something out of nothing, basically 2 turntables and a microphone, DJ Kool Herc, some breakbeats or Grandmaster Flash, like, and then, you had your MCs, and then it just evolved from there. And today, some of the most prolific groups still follow that sort of blueprint. Like the Roots are really good. There's guys like Odyssey. There's guys like Homeboy Sandman. These are all underground guys, but the blueprint that they use is the blueprint that they used in the 90s and bringing that back. And speaking of which, Redman had just made a new album, which is kind of 90s kind of vibe. And that's what I miss about that, because it was a party kind of music and everyone vibed to it. I mean, it is what it is today, but back then, I think it just brought the old school is the true school to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's fair enough, man. Yeah. But either way, it whether it be conscious rap from the early 90s or gangster rap from the early to mid 90s, or even the club scene that came prolific around the 2000s and prolific for a little while. Even though that birthed Diddy. Well,
we won't go there. We'll strike. No. I mean, the only thing Diddy did was brought some good artists, like
he did. I'll give him that. But oh my God, man,
we'll just leave the freak off.
We'll leave the freak off in the past.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, long live hip hop.
Breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground.
You have been listening to Down Home. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
Breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, yeah. On a high plateau, from the one down below to the future of the funk, getting lost in the flow.
Intro spoken word by Spoken Flow, aka Jay Jones.
Time to sleep as you reach your next phase, laying it all on the line. New trails start to blaze, it's a fire inside. A brand new path, breaking down the sum to one. Feeling free, I just laugh with the joy.
The song Breaking New Ground from The Breakdown.
The vibe like magic prescribed, only to see the perfect blend, like a diamond in the rough, ready to drop a perfect gem. It's time to shine so fine to see what you find. Revolution.